Welcome everyone to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are the #1 radio, TV, and podcast network on the internet. We are so proud of that, and we want to thank you so much because we know it's because of you listening each and every time we're on. So we want to thank you. We are going bold every day. We're going strongly, and we are so pleased to be able to present experts to you like we're going to do today. But before we do that, we got to do our homework. So you guys know all of our information is right there on goingboldmedia.com. You can find all of our wonderful hosts and guests on there, and you can check out all of our information. But those of you that don't know us, we are on the Link to Expert Goodreads Authors Corner today. I am Cece Schatz. I am the doyenne of relationship building. I am a relationship I'm a divorce, dating, and life coach, and I'm also the the CEO or the president of the Going Solo Network. So everyone, my wonderful co-host, if you don't know her, you've got to get to know her. Joanne Wyland. She is the Chief Connections Officer and the founder and collaboration cloud community. I mean, this awesome community. If you haven't heard of it, you've got to check it out. Go to the website, link2expert.com. That's LINKTTO expert, EXPERT.com. And it's a wonderful community, a wonderful place for if you're in business or you want to be able to connect with other people. I mean, she has thousands in there, and she does a lot of things to be able to help move and motivate you through your business. So you want to check that out. And of course, you know, the show is sponsored and is linked to Expert Goodreads Authors Corner. So we have our wonderful author here today, and I'm going to let Joanne take over. Joanne?
Welcome, Connie. Connie Whitman, the CEO of Whitman and Associates, and she's known for her high energy, passionate, heart-centered, and enthusiastic approach to sales, teaching, and coaching. Connie and I have been friends for many years, and Connie has been the CEO of the Changing the Sales Game for 20 years, much longer than I know her, and helping business owners, leaders, and sales teams build powerhouse organizations and accomplish their outrageous goals. Connie's also a 4-time #1 international selling author, including her latest book, ESP, which we all do need ESP, but the Easy Sales Process is what it stands for this time, 7 Steps to Sales Success. Connie's also the host on not 1, but 2 shows every week. And one is called The Enlightenment of Change, where she serves a faculty member. And the other one is the Changing the Sales Game. And this is really exciting because Changing the Sales Game, for an example, she has 145 episodes already. The Enlightenment of Change, she has over 305. We're talking people that never done this. They don't realize the enormity of putting these shows together. The pre-show, the show itself, the post-show. And Connie does not 1, but 2 every single week, and just there to help us to really understand that sales is what everybody needs to do, but do it professionally, do it right, with your heart centered. And we just welcome Connie to the show.
Thanks for having me, ladies.
Thanks for being here.
Honored.
We are especially excited about having you here and talk about your new book. But we also know Connie and I also have been in an anthology book together. And like I said earlier, they've become #1 international best-selling authors. We become #1 international best-selling authors because the books become international bestsellers. And I also thought we'd kick off by talking about that, because I think a lot of times, Connie, people don't realize how that gives you credibility. And so I thought maybe before we talk about the book, just talk a little bit about how you really do recommend, because you've had your own anthology books too that you've actually put together. And again, talk about the process of doing that to pull the right authors in with the right information, the right stories to make it beneficial for the world. And I know that you with me, I've had, done one together. But for an example, I think that not everybody realizes the true value of being an author, a published author. So
Yeah.
would you mind sharing a little bit more of your insights about that first?
Yes, of course. And thanks, Joe, for the introduction. It was lovely, my friend. So having well, let me take a step back. When COVID hit, right, I had a book on the shelf, and what did all business owners do? I tease, I go, we wrote a book because the world had stopped, right? Nobody needed me, right? Sales and teaching sales, nobody needed. So I took the book off the shelf, and I had it edited, and I hired someone to do the cover and all of these things. And then I was like, well, now what do I do? Right. I had never published anything, right, let alone understand the process. So I was networking with someone, and this is the gem of what you ladies do with your networks as well, right? Our peeps matter. And I was on a networking event, and I met this woman, and we were sharing what we were up to. And I go, yeah, this book, I don't know what to do now. She's like, oh, you have to meet my friend Kathy Davis at Davis Publishing, and she'll be able to help you. And I want to, for everybody listening, this is really important because there's so many options out there. There's so many vendors, and I was starting to do my homework, and it was quite expensive. So I thought, income's not coming in. Do I publish this book now, et cetera, et cetera? Met Kathy, and the option was a no-brainer for me because her price point and what you got was so worth it. So I pursued it, and I went and published my own book. Now, to answer your question, Joe, so that was the getting thrown in the deep end, if you will, because I did my own book first, which I don't now in hindsight, I probably don't recommend that, but it worked, right? So then fast forward, Kathy and I became friends. That's just how I do business. My network becomes my friends. And she had an anthology, and that was the one I think you were in, Joe. And
yes.
The first one. And so she said, would you like to, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, sure. I love being published. It's such a fun process. And now let me do it from a collaboration standpoint with other authors. Wow, this is awesome. And here's the cool thing of doing a collaborative book. You now have this mini network where you become real intimate with the other authors. You become friends with them because you're on this journey of publishing this amazing book with whatever the topic is. And then you're getting those authors to support that given topic. So during COVID, Kathy did Bright Spots, which was about inspiring people to not lose faith, right? And have hope that tomorrow was going to be brighter. And she brought together inspiring authors, and I was honored to be one of them, to promote when the world was crazy. So I was honored to be part of that, and then did another book with Kathy. And then the beginning of 2023, this year, I hosted a book, and I was the head honcho, I guess, if you will, the head author. And I got 20 authors together, and my book was Ready, Connect, Grow. It was all about the impact and importance of networking and really supporting each other, because the tide rises. We really do rise together. So that's kind of been my journey with being published. But again, I would do a collaborative book now in hindsight versus going solo right out of the gate. Again, learning, right? It's a learning curve.
It really is. And Kathy then introduced me to you, of course, and you get to work, like you said, with all these different other inspiring authors that are also in this together. And to me, being the collaboration guru, I really, really enjoyed doing the anthology book, because with that one, Kathy actually had called me. Somebody at the last minute couldn't publish their story. They were going through a divorce or something crazy. So Cece, that goes right into your world. And the husband threatened to sue Bright Spots if Kathy Davis Publishing, if she published the story. So she's like, Joe, can you write a story in 2 days? I said, I don't know, but I can try. And I did. And it was wonderful, because the other part of the collaboration is not just writing them and working together on it, and working with a writing coach that she provides. And then she even provides that you work with us. Another one of our members, Kathy's a member of Linked Expert, and so is Rebecca Paul Grader, that we get to be the international bestsellers because you all work together to do it. And fortunately for me, I know people in lots of different countries. So then you ask them to, you can do a special offer, like for an example, $1.99 for the first 24 hours, to be able to buy the book. or whatever. But the coolest part is that we all pulled together and we all help to get to that status, because it's not easy becoming a #1 international bestseller without having a real marketing campaign, a real marketing process to put together. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, but that I agree with Connie completely, that it's much easier to start by doing anthologies and learning the process and working with people like Kathy Davis, because of the fact that you really get to understand a lot more of it before maybe you go solo. So
Well, we'll have to get Kathy on here. We'll definitely have to get her.
oh, we have her scheduled. Yeah,
we definitely got to get her on. Let's talk a little bit about the easy sales process, right? Because this is your book, your solo book, right?
Yes.
And it's very important. I mean, those that are in sales, we're always looking for ways to kind of ignite ourselves, as we go through. And Connie, I just wanted to share with you just real quick, is when I was kind of doing more of a sales type of role, I found that I had to continuously fill my well, to keep myself motivated, to keep myself to really be inspired. And I found that when I was reading good books like yours, the 7 Steps to Sales Success, when I was reading books like this, it motivated me. I was like on a high, and I would do really well in sales. If I did not do that, if I stopped listening to podcasts, if I stopped reading the books, if I stopped doing that stuff, my sales went way down. I mean, I think we really do have to continuously fill our well. So let's talk a little bit about the easy sales process, 7 steps to sales success. And I'll let you take it away there, Connie.
Yeah, so I shared the book I had on the shelf, and then, life takes over, right? I had kids, and I thought, not right for publishing. And then when COVID hit, it just was the right time. So, you figure life ebbs and flows, you figure it out, right? So the opportunity presented itself. Here's the thing, the first chapter of my book is called Love. And, everybody who read the book, they were like, really? You started with love? And I'm like, yes. And the first sentence, because I'm a jokester, I try to have fun in life, right? So I think the first sentence read something like, if you're not selling from a place of love, care, and respect, please stop. You're doing it wrong. And read on to learn why love is so important. And that's the first chapter of the book. And then throughout the book, I share stories of, pitfalls that I had hit with sales and, how to overcome them. So the book itself is 7 steps that you can buy, execute. And I guarantee, well, I shouldn't say guarantee, because it depends on the effort you put out. Mm-hmm. But if you read it and you execute my recommendations, I have exercises at the end of each of the chapters. Your sales have to go up if you really execute it properly. Okay. So the book should help you. Additionally, though, by sharing my stories, I truly help inspire, like you said, Cece, inspire people to say, oh, I'm in a slump, or I don't have the bandwidth, or I'm tired. I was just sick. And how do I get my engines running again? So hopefully through the book, I had inspiring stories as well, because life is life, business is business. We have to ride the waves when they're high, but when they go low, my hope is always that anybody who reads my book or goes to my training courses, whatever it is, that they're in my orbit in some way, that when they hit the troughs or the lows in life, that you go fast and then you're back up high again, riding that beautiful wave, and then you go down and you go up, etc. So that's my hope with the book, that it gives you not only the intel of the 7 steps, but that inspiration behind it. So thank you for saying that, Cece, because I think that's an important part of life and business and careers, that we have to be inspired.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think by sharing your own personal stories, it really helps us be able to connect with you, so that we have a better understanding of not only what you're going through, but then when we start to go through some of those things, we can refer back to, like, oh yeah, I remember Connie said in her book, she said this kind of happened, it's kind of a similar type of situation, and this is how I can get myself back up again. And so I think that's very, very important, because we do need that connection in life. We do need that inspiration in life to be able to move forward. And that's really where we're on a plane, right? When we're in sales, if we can keep on that positive transition, that movement, we can certainly, that feel good, we can give off that energy, right? And that energy that's with us I know this is kind of like big, but that energy that's with us, we attract those to us, right?
Absolutely.
And so when we're in the sales, when we're, talking with our clients or prospective clients, we want to have that high energy. We want them to gravitate towards us. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, let's talk a little bit about the 7 steps, because what the heck are they? What are these 7 steps as we want to move forward into being successful in sales?
Here's the thing, Cece and Joanne, we have to keep things simple. I think that there's so many processes out there that we think if we show the complexity of something, it shows how smart we are. And I just live my life in a kind of an opposite direction from that, because if I could keep my life simple, I can do more with a lot more happiness and joy than being bogged down. So for me, anything I do, I try to create a good habit, right? It takes work. This takes effort, by the way, right? It's not, oh, I read a book, I could do it now, I've got it. No, you have to, now you have to implement each of the steps. And that's why at the end of each chapter, I give an exercise, but you have to do the exercise and you have to play with the exercise and you have to do the exercise, several reiterations sometimes before you go, oh, I've got it now, and then move on to the second chapter, et cetera, et cetera. So the 7 steps, keep it simple, right? First step is preparation. Be prepared, show up, be prepared. Step 2, builds rapport. Make sure you have a value statement. A value statement should change based on the industry you're speaking to, based on the networking event you're going to, based on the client that's sitting in front of you. You should have multiple value statements depending on the venue, so that you, and again, see, it goes back to the preparation, Joe and Cece. If I get in there and think I'm just going to wing it and tell people what I do, it's too long. You go on, and it's not efficient use of time. And now people look at you like, I got other people to talk to, whether it's in a Zoom room or live. So we want to go in prepared with very short, I like 17 to 20 word value statements. Get in, say what you got to say, and then you open the door for people to start asking you questions. If they're interested in that 17 to 20 words, they'll come back with questions. Wait, tell me more. So it's the hook, but now you want to give them an opportunity to be part of the conversation. That's how we build rapport, not talking. Here's my value statement. Let me just vomit it on you. It's just not cool. Don't do that. Third step. It's true though. Right?
I love it. Just tell it like it is. Go ahead.
How many times, I'll share a real quick story. I was at a networking event live. This was pre-COVID. And we were around the table, maybe 20 people, and go around, take 2 minutes, do your value statement. And at the time I had 2 businesses. And so everybody's going on and on and on. And the moderator had to keep cutting people off. I was maybe the 8th person to go. And I had 2 businesses. I did it in 1 minute and 10 seconds. And everybody around the room, they looked at me and they go, we don't want to go after her. So I said, but you all knew you were coming to a networking event. They go, yep. I said, I was just prepared with my value statement. I understood who was going to be here, the type of businesses, et cetera. So it go in locked and loaded. Trust me, people will notice you. And that's not, listen, that was not a put down to anybody in the room. But all of a sudden, they were all looking at me going, holy crap, that was really good. Show up prepared. Get your value statement in line with where you are. Next one, step 3, is questioning. Please be prepared with the right questions so that you can dig in and understand who the client is. It's not about you. It's about the client. Step 4 is listening. So question and listening, they are married. They do a little dance all the time, hopefully a harmonious dance. And that step 4, with the act of listening, you're able to ask really good follow-up questions based on those original set of prepared questions. Follow-up questions you can't prepare. It's called being present with the client. I need to dig deeper to better understand how I'm going to help them or potentially help them. Step 5 is creating your package of products. And I just want to talk about this briefly. I call it the pantry. When you go into your pantry and you want to make chocolate chip cookies, you need chocolate chips, you need the flour, you need the sugar, the brown sugar, whatever. So when you go in, know what your pantry, everything that you have, all the assets, whatever the product or services that you're selling. So now when you're in front of that client and you do this beautiful dance of question and listening, and you connect with them deeply, right, through your value statement, and you build that rapport and you show up prepared, all of a sudden, when you get to step 5 to create your package, I always say, go in with a package. The other thing, don't go in with a preconceived notion of what that client needs, because trust me, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot right out of the gate, and you're leaving money on the table, or you're going to potentially lose the business. So go in open-minded, know what's in your pantry, talk to that client. And as soon as you fully understand what they're about, what their pain points, problems, whatever you call it is, their situation, go into your pantry, customize a package that's going to work for them. You know what you have prepared. You know what you can deliver. Customize it, put different pieces together. And that's how you create a really dynamic package that becomes a bullseye for what the client needs, not only today, but hopefully in the future. Now, don't oversell, because then we lose the sale, but you can set them up for what is yet to come based on the trajectory of their growth in their business. And then step 6 is ask for the business. So if you've done steps 1 through 5 really, really well, step 6 should be, so let's get started. What does your calendar look like? Let's schedule the next meeting. Let me send you the contract. Whatever it is for you, just ask for the business. Again, keep it simple. Do not resell it. Just ask for the business. And then step 7 is follow up. This is where you guys, where I see a lot of salespeople, authors, we don't do the follow up. We think, oh, they said no, or they said maybe. If I call them or I email them, oh, I feel like I'm being a pest. So we just don't, because we're uncomfortable. Meanwhile, whenever I tell a client, hey, I'm going to follow up with you in a week, and if they don't respond, I'll follow up a week later. They don't respond, I send either do a voicemail, depending on what I've agreed to with the client. So honor how the client wants to be communicated with. But I'll send either a final voicemail or an email saying, listen, I will never make a pest of myself. I followed up 3 times. If you need me, here's my cell phone. Here's my information. I would love to work with you. You let me know when you're ready and we can rock and roll. Thank you so much. And that's it. 99.9% of the time, I either get a call back or an email. No. I've just been busy. Please keep following up. You're reminding me that we still have to do this. I'm just not ready yet. I go, I am patient. I will be here when you're ready. How about once a month, I do a little temperature check. Hey, how are we? Right? Hey, how you doing? And it's a very gentle thing. But clients ask me to follow up because they know that I don't want to be a pest. I don't want to be a jerk, but I want to honor their space. So again, it's just how you approach it. Keep it simple, keep it respectful, come from love, care, and respect, and the rest falls into place.
Wow, this is really great. I mean, so much information, tremendous amount of information. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about, I think we should talk about the follow-up, right? Because so often, if we haven't closed the sale, right? If we haven't actually made the sale, maybe we need to rethink our package, rethink where the people are, and how can we approach someone as we want to do our follow-up. So you guys are listening to Connie Whitman. She is a speaker, podcast host, and the CEO of Whitman and Associates. She has written a wonderful book. You must run out and get it. It's called ESP, Easy Sales Process, 7 Steps to Sales Success. Connie, raise up the book so they can see what it looks like. There you go. That's what it would look like. So when you go on Amazon, just check that out and make sure you get that. Remember, she is a 4-time international best-selling author, which is include Connie's book here, The 7 Steps to Sales. And we want to make sure you guys know that. We have a free gift for you guys, too. We want to make sure we mention that. Just go to her website, changingthesalesgame.com. That's changing, CHANGINGS, the THE, sales, SALES, game, GAME.com. Check out the assessment. I'm going to run there and do the assessment myself. I think it's very cool to learn more about yourself, and maybe we'll have her talk a little bit more about that when we come back. So you guys, to make it short and sweet, you are listening to Link to Expert Good Reads here on our Author's Corner. I am Cece Schatz, and I have my good friend Joanne Weiland with me, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are going bold every day right here with a link to expert Goodreads Authors Corner. I am Cece Chef, the Joanne of Relationship Building. I have Joanne with me, Joanne Weiland. She is the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of the Collaboration Cloud Community, linktoexpert.com. We have a wonderful guest here today. We've been talking about this exciting book. It's called ESP, Easy Sales Process, 7 Steps to Sales Success with Connie Whitman. She's a speaker, podcast host, and a CEO of Whitman Associates. You guys need to check out her podcast. She does a weekly international radio show called Enlightenment of Change and Changing the Game. You don't want to miss that. And then also, we talked about giving you guys a free gift on her website. It's called The Assessment, something you definitely need to do. Even if you've been in sales forever and a day, you want to take this test so that you can kind of see if there's any areas that you want to work on. And I think that's very important to it. So go to her website, changingthesalesgame.com. Changing, Changing, and the THE sales, SALES, game.com. So we want to make sure that you guys have that. So the first part of the show, Connie, we talked about the 7 steps. We briefly touched on those. So those of you that might have missed the show, go back and listen to the rebroadcast because you don't want to miss those 7 steps. This part of the show, we're going to talk about the follow-up, right? Because what we don't do sometimes is when we get that rejection, we think, okay, move on to the next one, right? Sometimes we do need to move on. Sometimes we do need to, we play our cards, it didn't come up, and so now we have to move on. But the reality is if we truly want to make a connection with someone, if we truly want to really, if we want to win over the business, if we want to show that we are of service to them, we do need to do the follow-up. Because sometimes what I've learned in life is sometimes we're not at that moment, right? It's just like sometimes when somebody's listening to a podcast, they listen to it and it doesn't really resonate with them. But then down the road, it does. And then that is the beauty of the rebroadcast, is so that you can listen to it again. It's the same thing with the follow-up. It might not have been the right timing for them at the moment. Maybe all the wheels in the spoke didn't fit, but maybe in the future it does. So tell us a little bit about your approach on the follow-up, and then maybe even the follow-up after that.
And here's the thing. It's the rule of thumb. When I started in sales 40 years ago, the client needed to hear from us, or potential client, between 5 and 8 times. And that would have included, now back then we didn't have computers and internet and email. So that would include a phone call, a mailing from the company I worked for, a statement, perhaps if they were already a client. They're all considered touches. So it's not just necessarily a phone call. Well, fast forward now, because our attention span is so diminished down to 6 seconds, we really need to touch that potential client probably between 12 and 18 times, which sounds so daunting. But that can include an advertisement, like you just had the advertisement for the jeweler and the IT company. That is a touch, right? If you send an email out, that's a touch. If you send a newsletter out, that's a touch. So the more people could get from, if you have a published book and you send out the link for the book to purchase, or you're on a podcast and you put that link in your email or your newsletter, all of those are considered touches so that people could get to know you. So the more ways we can make ourselves relevant and trustworthy, build that know, like, trust factor, it takes time. We have to follow up. That's the only way to do it. It's not somebody meets you once and you think, oh, we hit it off, we're going to become great friends, and then you never follow up. You're not going to become great friends. You're never going to end up doing business. We're all on to the next thing in life. I forgot about who I spoke with yesterday, whether I loved them or not, because if it's them trying to sell me, right, or hopefully that I buy from them, I'm not following up with them. I'm going on and investigating other alternatives. So you have to stay relevant. We need to touch the client. Again, respectfully, love, care, and respect always. But how can we be respectful in that follow-up? And you have to figure that out with each client or potential client.
Yeah, that is so true. I totally get that. And so what do you say about the times when let's say you do have to kind of cut your losses and say, okay, this isn't really working. Doesn't seem like that you are a good fit. Tell us a little bit about what you do when that happens.
Here's the thing. You have to be careful with this because we do need to cut our losses. You can't chase every lead. Not enough time in a day. It just is what it is. So, but I want to share a story to give you an idea of playing the long game and using follow-up as a resource to potentially stay in the game without spending a lot of time. So here's the example. When I started my business 22 years ago, there was one client I was introduced to, an executive at this organization. And they said to me, I was new, right? So they said, you're too small, you're new, we can't take a risk on you. I said, okay, I understand. But I liked them. They liked me, the person. So I just followed up. I said to them at the end of that meeting, okay, cool, don't hire me. Would it be okay if I just kind of kept tabs on you, if I follow up maybe twice a year, maybe quarterly? If I see an article I think might be relevant, can I forward that on? Again, I asked for permission of what boundaries did they want to set with me. And it was cute because they liked me. They said, no, you can follow up. We just don't want to waste your time. I said, it's never a waste of time. I love staying connected to cool people like you. Well, fast forward, I followed up quarterly. Now, remember, this was 22 years ago. So we didn't really have computers and emails. It was just coming into play. But I would email them. I would leave voice messages on their birthdays. At the holidays, I would reach out and maybe I would send a little gift card or something, right? So I did that, wait for it, 5 years. So here's my question, without knowing the punchline. Do you think it was worth following up with an organization for 5 years? Was that a waste of my time? Before you know anything else, what do you think?
No, I don't think so, because you're building a rapport.
Well, during that time, I knew the husband had broken his legs. I knew what grade the kids were in. It became personal. So during my follow-up, it was never, so you ready to hire me? Let me tell you about sales. Let me tell you what I could do for you. It was about, hey, how the kids, what's going on? What's going on in your world? How's mom and dad? And getting personal with people. And then every September, October, when they were ready for budget, I would reach out and say, listen, never any pressure. Do you think I have a chance? You let me know, guide me. Nah, Con, they have another company. Okay, cool, man. It's cool. It's all good. The 5th year, they had hired 3 other organizations. They spent millions. Nothing changed after 5 years. So I did my normal routine. August, I followed up. I said, hey, listen, I'm still here. My business is growing. I'm doing a couple of cool new things. Would you like to meet? Net met with them. Within 5 minutes, I had the business. They knew me, they trusted me. And can I tell you, I worked with them for 15 years. So we're talking multi-million-dollar contract ultimately. Now I ask again, was it worth following up for those 5 years?
Yes, and yes.
Yes.
Well, the other thing too is I was thinking that even let's say they don't do anything, they've got a connection with you. And so if they hear of someone else that's looking for what you're doing, they're going to refer you.
Exactly.
I mean, that is golden. A referral is golden. To me, that's really money in your pocket when someone refers you.
And Cece, another very important thing you just said, during that 5 years, right? I was getting to know these executives on a very personal level. And some of them left and went to another organization. And who do you think they called? So again, I got business from building those relationships through the 5 years, in addition to working with them, following up 5 years and working with them 15 years. And just as an aside, they ranked #1 bank in New Jersey for 2018. I don't take full credit for that, but I could tell you I contributed to that success. Wow. So it's the long game. It's all about the relationship. It's not about the transaction. And you have to be in it you have to be patient and in it for the long game. Follow-up is where the patience comes in.
Yeah. I think we miss that. Don't you think sometimes, Joanne, we miss that follow-up?
The follow-up and the persistence and the focus of it, because it's not just nilly-willy. It is, like you said, you knew about the kids, you knew about the husband's broken leg, that you really care, because they really do value when you really do listen and when you really do care. And it's not just about getting the sale that you're asking. I mean, you do that all the time when we talk right away. It's like, how's your mom? How's your dad? Because you know what's going on with my family. And it's priceless, because most people, they don't even sometimes know your name.
And Joe, your business is personal. If somebody says no, they don't want, like during those 5 years where they said no, thank you, it wasn't personal. I wasn't a business fit for them. Personally, we built beautiful relationships that transpired into multi-million-dollar contracts over time. It's just showing up as yourself again. It's love, care, and respect. And one other thing, you use the word persistent, Joe. I want to dig in there. Step 7 in my process, I call it CPR. Because, like I'm doing the hand, we have to keep people alive in our pipeline. And the only way to do that is through consistent, persistent, and that word again, respectful CPR follow-up. And if you're not doing consistent, persistent, respectful, that's the big word. Don't be a jerk, right?
Right.
You're respectful in the follow-up, you win every time. You win every time.
Well, that is great. I tell you what, this shows why this book is a top seller. I mean, it absolutely shows it. So ESP, Easy Sales Process, run out and get it. 7 Steps to Sales Success with our wonderful guest here today, Connie Whitman. She's a speaker, podcast host, and a CEO of Whitman Associates. Check out her other podcasts. I mean, we love them. She's an international. They're all over. She does it weekly. Enlightenment of Change and Changing the Game. So you want to make sure you check that out. Also, her website, which is changingthesalesgame.com. You can find an assessment on there, which is free. She's giving that to our guests here as a gift. Just go there and check out the assessment. We want you guys to take that because we want you to help move you forward. And if you're stuck in a position, in a particular place in your sales, this will definitely help you. But I think it'll help your personality too, because you'll learn a lot about yourself, and we always can learn from that for sure. So thank you, Connie, so much for being on the show. We are so proud to have you here. It's you've enlightened us a lot of different ways. 7 steps to a sales success, and so it's a great book. We want to thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Thank you so much, ladies. I love you guys. It was a nice show. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We truly, truly appreciate you so much. Well, everyone, the time has gone by very quickly. It is amazing how fast it goes by when you're having fun, when you love what you do, right? And we want you guys to join us each and every time we have a show right here on Link to Expert Goodreads, the Author's Corner. I am Cece Schatz. I have with me my good friend, Joanne Weiland. Those of you that don't know Joanne, let's share a little love here. She's the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of Collaboration Cloud Community Link to Experts, which is exactly why we are connecting with you and sharing. I want to do a quick shout out because as Connie was talking about being able to, do that touch, that special touch that you have, that you need to continuously do. I want to share with you the ChatBridgeConnect.com and the EngagePro.com. Check those out. They will definitely help you on creating a platform where you can do follow-ups. Like if you're doing Zoom networking and things like that, you can download the chats there, connect with those networking individuals, and this way you can start accumulating some information about them and being able to help them with their service. Also, what I'd like to share with you is that on ChatBridge Connect, we have a special link. It's ChatBridge Connect. That's CHAT Bridge, BRIDGE, connect.com /AFF equal WNNHS. And if you can't remember that, not to worry, just go on Going Bold Media and we have it for you. But check that out because it allows you to be able to create, like Connie was saying, Connie Whitman, you could create you can get articles and things like that of interest of the individual that you're speaking with. You can send them this article and do a little, in your email and do a little touch with them, right? You can connect with them on the level of where they're at, really making it personal. So definitely check that out. We want to make sure that you get that information, chatbridgeconnect.com and EngagePro.com. pro.com. So check those out. We hope that that will help you on your sales and being able to move forward with what you're doing. Again, we want to thank and do a shout out to Connie Whitman, wonderful speaker, podcast host, and CEO of Whitman Associates. LLC, her wonderful book. It's a #1 seller. Run out and get it before it's sold out and you can't get it. We want to make sure you do that. It's ESP, Easy Sales Process, 7 Steps to Sales Success, and something you do need in your, in your library so that you can constantly go back to it, reread it, and make sure that you're on the top of your game. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's show. We love you. We hope that you'll join us each and every time right here on Link to Expert Goodreads Authors Corner. I'm Cece Schatz signing out, and I have my good friend here, Joanne, and we're signing out. See you next time. Bye for now.